Cafeteria Catholics, October 5, 1997. My dear people, today's dissenters from God's revealed truth, as handed down by the Church, are similar to some of the first disciples of Jesus who refused to accept his word on the Eucharist shortly before the first Mass on Holy Thursday. In the Gospel of John, we are told they said this teaching was difficult and asked, who could accept such things? But Jesus made no attempt to soften or modify his words. He was testing their faith in him. Does it shake your faith? He asks in John chapter 6, verse 28. St. John tells us that from that time on, these disciples broke away and would not remain in his company any longer. Faith is a gift of God, and accordingly those who have received it and retain it can accept his word in its entirety when put to the test. Our Lord has given them plenty of evidence of his divine power by his miracles. They should have accepted his words, even though they did not comprehend what he was saying. When they rejected it, it was because they were relying on the light of reason alone, and not on reason enlightened by faith. It was too much for them. But note the language referring to those who do believe. Jesus says, "No one can come to me." Think about it. One comes to him not by approaching him physically, but by believing in his word. Believing even when it is hard to believe. Because Jesus is truth. There are many in the church today who are similar to those who walked away and would follow Christ no longer. Included in that category are some who still come to Mass, still receive Holy Communion. You might wonder, why do they do this? If one comes to Mass and receives Holy Communion, isn't that following Christ? Is that not being his disciple? To come to Jesus is to accept him in the deepest sense. It is not enough to receive him sacramentally. One can receive him in Holy Communion and not accept his word in its entirety. We must accept not just most of what the Church teaches as divinely revealed, but all of it. Let us suppose I tell someone about 5 incidents that happened to me on a trip, all of which are true. And a person says to me, I believe the first 4, but I can't accept the 5th. The fact that he will not believe one of the incidents related, in spite of my words, means he no longer believes I always tell the truth. My credibility for him is shattered. We have a parallel to this in regard to the Church. Christ still speaks through his Church when it makes official pronouncements in faith and morals for all the faithful, declaring something to be divinely revealed. If an adult Catholic rejects just one of those official teachings, they are in effect saying, the Church cannot always be relied on to teach the true interpretation of God's revelation. What happens in that case to the gift of divine faith? It is no longer one's guiding light,